Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about the worldwide IT outage which has brought absolute chaos to travel networks, whether in airports to airlines and also to ongoing travel services too. I also want to help you to prepare for when something like this happens, what you can expect as well and what your rights are too. Plus we'll head over to Palma Airport and get an update from there too, see if things are slowly getting back to normal. Now I want to start this video as well because I appreciate that the news today about the failure of the Microsoft systems that are used in many travel networks has caused a huge amount of worry, particularly if you're about to go on holiday and you're particularly worried if something like this is going to happen to you. So the first thing I'm going to say is things like this happen very rarely. You may remember last September we had NATS, the air traffic control system. We saw a big system failure back in September. It caused flights, delays and cancellations too. But this is probably the most significant thing to happen this year as well, right as we're heading on into peak season. Now this weekend is the busiest weekend since the pandemic, since the post-pandemic. We're seeing about 1,000 flights leaving and arriving into Palma today. From the UK I think about 1.6 million people are travelling. I heard that statistic as well this weekend, which is just incredible. All the schools are now on holiday, so it's going to be an increasing pressure over the airports, and with something like this happening, well, it's not going to be a great travel experience. So I'm going to also start this video just by letting you know what your rights are if something like this happens when you're travelling. Now the first thing I want to say is that the airlines have a duty of care for you, which means that they have to get you to your destination. They also need to look after you as well at the airport, so that means providing meals and providing drinks as well if you do have a significant delay. If your flight gets delayed to the point that you need to stay overnight, they have to provide accommodation and meals. If your flight gets cancelled, they have to offer you an alternative flight, even if it means travelling on another airline as well, and not a lot of people know this too. You do have the right to travel by another airline and then go and claim that a flight back if your flight is cancelled, but they have to get you to where you are going, so that's also worth bearing in mind. So please don't worry too much. I appreciate it's very stressful in the airports at the moment, particularly as these flight delays are going to continue for days. There's going to be no quick fix here with the IT systems getting up and running. They will get up and running slowly, but we are going to see delays happening for the next few days, and we'll get onto that later on in this video. But how can you best prepare for this if you're planning to go on holiday? Well look, I've got some packing tips for you here, and this is super important. So we can see, because this has been an IT systems failure, I do recommend bringing some cash with you, because well, we never know when the whole visa network is going to go down. We don't know when payment systems are going to go down, and we also know that today as well that payment systems have been affected in various areas of the world as well. So my advice is to make sure you bring cash and split that cash as well between party members as well, with whoever you're travelling with. Bring some cash with you because you don't know when or if you're going to need it. We're so reliant upon cards that, well, cash is still going to be king. Even if you're arriving into Palma Airport today, the buses accept cards. They try and encourage the use of cards, but if systems go down, then they're just going to be accepting cash. So make sure you have some notes with you. But also, if you are taking cash, make sure you spread that out amongst your luggage too, just in case you get your wallet pinched. But that's a subject for another video. Okay, also another top tip as well is just try to avoid bringing whole luggage. I appreciate if you're a family or travelling with babies, you want to check in that suitcase. If you're coming for a week's holiday, I really don't think you need anything more than a backpack and maybe a cabin bag as well to take on board with you. Try and avoid to take that suitcase, because we're going to see today that there are delays over on the luggage belt as well. There are going to be maybe suitcases that get left behind. With these IT systems not being up and running as they should, we're going to find people losing their bags as well. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to take a massive suitcase on holiday this summer. And don't forget, the resorts, particularly over here in Mallorca, everywhere sells really cheap clothes, really cheap toiletries, and you can get everything you need from pharmacies as well. So maybe bring a little bit less out with you, maybe shop over here too. It might be worth doing just to try and reduce your baggage size as well. So when you arrive at the airport, you can basically leave the airport and get on with your holiday as well, and not have any lost luggage problems, which we may well see over the course of the next few days. Also, if you're travelling on the package holiday as well, say you're going with your family or you're just going yourself, if you are checking in the bag, make sure in your carry-on bag you've got maybe some swimwear as well to get going. You've also got a couple of changes of clothes, some underwear as well, just in case your suitcase does go missing. And don't keep everyone's clothes in the one suitcase, try and mix it up as well, so you've got a few changes of clothes in each case as well, just in case one bag does go missing. It's worth spreading the load, as it were, and just make sure that not everyone's clothes are in one suitcase. And most importantly, this is probably one of my biggest tips as well, do not put medicine into hold luggage. Carry it with you in your hand luggage. Take the prescription as well, particularly if it's quite a controversial medicine as well that you may get pulled up about. Show that you have a reason to be carrying that medicine on board, but don't check anything that you're going to need medically into a suitcase for this summer, because you may encounter much bigger problems in trying to get that medicine back if your suitcase does go missing. Also, as well, this is so important too, particularly on a day like today, make sure that your luggage is labelled correctly. Make sure you've got the hotel name and address of where you're going to if you're coming out here. Make sure you've also got a return address in there as well, so if your luggage does get left behind at the airport or at one of the airports, or even at Palma Airport here, they know where it's going to go, and also the dates where you're going to be in that hotel or you're going to be back at home as well. It's going to make it easier to locate too. So super important, always label your luggage, because at the end of every season, I'm sure over at the airport they've got loads and loads of luggage over in the lost and found, which never finds its rightful owner again. Also, make sure you scan as well all important documents like passports. You've got a copy of your travel insurance with you. Make sure you've got emergency bank numbers, embassy number, everything like that that you're going to need in case the worst can possibly happen. Bring that along with your cash too. Just make sure you've got an extra credit card as well, and also carry extra funds too, because well, we've just been away, my daughter and I have just been away for a few days, and I'll let you know more about that in my live stream coming this Sunday. But we were in the country that had a strike as well on public transport, and we had to get a taxi to the airport. It was €100 that I didn't want to spend, so make sure if you're coming over, bring extra funds too. If you can't for some reason get to the airport, you may have to splash out on a taxi, and that might be an unexpected cost, so always bring over extra funds with you just to help out if something like this should happen. And also make sure as well that if you're going to the airport, always bring food, bring drink, bring entertainment, bring a charger as well, bring a battery pack, because something like this is going to mean that you could be in for a long wait at the airport. I know in the case today the airlines are trying to get people away as quickly as possible, but you're going to have delays. There's going to be increased pressure as well on airport services for food and for drink as well. If you take your own food, you're not going to have too much of a problem in terms of queuing and trying to get somewhere to eat as well. So I always say arrive at the airport prepared, and that's the best advice that I can give. Okay, so what's going on over at Palma Airport? Well, it looks like this whole IT problem, it looks like a fix has been deployed, but this is still going to cause widespread travel chaos for days, because with flights being delayed or cancelled, we're going to run into problems with planes not being in airports where they're supposed to be. We're going to run into problems with airline crew as well, working too many hours, and they're going to have to stop work and take a break as well, which means that in some cases airlines are not going to be able to fly the flights that they had planned for today as well, and this is going to lead to widespread delays. We're also seeing as well it's going to cause widespread problems as well on travel services, so also in terms of getting to the airport and leaving the airport, not so much here in Palma, but maybe from your country of origin where you're trying to get your flight as well. I've heard of some airports that have been closed today as well. So this isn't actually grounds for claiming compensation for your airline. It's an extraordinary occurrence. While the airport does have a duty of care for you, you can't get any compensation from it on a day like today, but you may be able to claim in your travel insurance, which is why I always say bring travel insurance too. It's so important when you're travelling as well, and it can help recoup extraordinary costs as well that you may incur if you're travelling. So we had a post on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group today as well, and just taking a look here at a few comments, I saw that over in Tui they had a queue going the full length of the airport twice, which is quite awful. I've also heard as well that Ryanair are allowing people to check in at the airport for free as well. They're not charging them, so well done Ryanair for that one. Also, with the problem with online check-in as well today as well, we're starting to see a return to manual processes, manual check-ins with people actually writing people out boarding cards as well, and writing out the luggage tickets as well, and we know things can go wrong there too, but we are seeing the airlines are coping with this quite well as well, which is really, really good news. I have seen though over in Alicante that passports aren't being scanned properly, so make sure if this happens to you as well, you're keeping a record of the number of days that you have travelled to the EU if you're coming from the UK as well, just in case your passport doesn't get scanned. I have heard that things are okay over in Palma Airport today, and people are getting through passport control and the scanners are working over there too, but they might not be working everywhere. So in case you're watching this and you're not travelling to Mallorca, just make sure you make a note as well and you've got proof of your trip to the EU, because this of course, as you know, being a third country could cause problems further down the line. Also, looking at the Palma Airport arrivals and departure board, I'm seeing lots of flights taking off and arriving, but there's still many delays and cancellations, so my advice is to always check with your airline or your tour operator before travelling. Okay, so finally, can we expect more of this as the summer goes on? Because while we're in peak season now, and well, goodness knows what is going to happen, I have to say that quite possibly, yes, we could see some IT system failures going on as we go on through the summer. We've got enough headaches as well happening with the volume of people travelling this summer, but keep me posted. We've got a running post over on the Mallorca Under the Sun Facebook group. Let me know what your experience has been like today if you're travelling either to or from the islands. Leave us a post, comment on the posts that we have on the group as well. I'd like to know what your experience has been today. Finally, if you are travelling within the next few days, I wish you a safe journey as well. We've got amazing weather over here in Mallorca. You can see a not very busy Magaluf beach behind me, even though we are in July. Expect a very fantastic holiday if you are coming out, but I do have more video content coming out this weekend, so consider subscribing if you haven't done so already, and I shall be bringing you that. Okay everyone, thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has proved useful in some way, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Goodbye for now.